So guys, we're back. I actually blend in with the chair. No, look at it. I didn't think of that. But we're back here today, and I want to talk about how quitting social media on NoFap would change the game for you. It will essentially do the work for you. You know, you won't have to be fighting urges. You won't have to be, debating, oh, should I do it, should I not, and thinking about it, and then doing it, and scrolling, and looking at gym girls' asses. That's what always used to get me. But even now, I can be exposed to that content. I probably still feel the same urges that I felt before, but I won't indulge, and I won't really. I just think, oh, she's fit, or oh, she got a nice arse, or I just will visit, or I'll have the peripheral vision to see it. Like how you can see all the things around you, even though you're focused on one object. I'll have that. I can just sense it. Like if let's say a girl's ass is being shown, I will instinctively just think, don't look, or sometimes I'll look. If it's my girl, it's different. Obviously, I'm gonna look at my girl's ass. But if it's some chick and I'm not in the, I want to be focused. I'm not looking to get with a girl or any of this stuff. Then I'll just be focused. I'll stay focused. And if you're obviously not, if you're not on NoFap, if you haven't even started and you're still jacking off, then I suggest you do the same thing. A little side rant there, but it is a good point. And quickly, before we really get into this, make sure to check out the course. I've given away all my secrets on NoFap. A lot of the stuff can't really talk about. People tend to not talk about. It has all the tips and tricks, if you will, to actually overcoming the addiction in an extended amount of time, or not extended, in a shortened amount of time, because it took me fucking ages to learn all the stuff that I put in the course, and it will just kind of like fast track you. People are loving it. It's working. Sound like crazy. So check it out if you'd like to. But let's get into it. So I had a day off, and I was sick. I was out of school, and I had low energy. You know how it is when you're sick. You got low energy. You're not feeling up to it. And the first thing I did was I turned on my phone, and then I scrolled on social media. And what happened? I got brain fogged. I got brain fog. And with brain fog, you're kind of just your emotional part of your mind, the emotional part of your mind is controlling everything you do, because you've acted on impulse. When you act on logic, that part of your brain is going to usually get more used. That's what I find. They say that the emotional part of your brain, the one that makes decisions based on emotion and impulse, that is more powerful than your logical thinking mind. And I find if you just don't do that at the beginning of the day, you're going to have a productive day. But in this case, I didn't. I scrolled. And I consumed content for the first time. It was literally yesterday. I consumed content for the first time, and I scrolled for the first time in months, maybe a year. You'd assume that would be out of my mind. I wouldn't naturally go into it, but you'd be surprised. Naturally, you just go scrolling and scrolling. And I have been building up the last few weeks, and I've had to step back and say, okay, this is not good. I need to act on it. I need to try and eradicate this and rectify it. But as a result, because I was scrolling, I was indulging, I spent all day watching unproductive content, the type of content I used to watch that I stopped watching. And I continued to do that, and guess what happened? I got the urges again. I got the level of urges that I would have got, years, months ago. And I'm lucky that, well, I'm not lucky, I'm just grateful that I had the presence in the moment to not indulge, because if I didn't have the willpower I do now, I would have indulged, I would have relapsed. Because I had the exact same sexual urges as I did when I used to relapse. Exact same, because I consumed a lot of content. And that's because when you're being unproductive, you feel empty, and that leads to a relapse. When you feel empty, you're depressed, your life feels meaningless, you haven't got much dopamine, you're craving dopamine, because everything you do leads to dopamine. Everything I do leads to dopamine. Me making this video right now is giving a massive boost to my dopamine. Not as big as a relapse, but it is a big dopamine boost from what I would have felt an hour ago, let's say. And that's because you're always chasing a high. And I don't know, some drill. Anyway, that unproductiveness will lead to emptiness. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm depressed. A lot of depressed people do drugs. A lot of people depressed masturbate. A lot of people that masturbate are depressed. A lot of fat people depressed. That's because they're empty. They're filling their emptiness with their addiction. So if you don't feel empty, if you're being productive, then you're not going to want to relapse. And what is the biggest killer of productivity in the modern age? Social media. Social media is the biggest vice on the generation, our current generation, my generation, and even other generations. A lot of people, like my parents, for example, my mum and my dad, both addicted to their phones. My dad, not so much social media, but mobile games and all that stuff. He's always on there. And my mum is always on Instagram, Facebook, all the common social medias. And it results in emptiness. It results in bad habits. It results in the domino effect. When you do one bad habit and then you do another bad habit, and it continues. I feel like if you do good habits, then that would also continue. It's like the good domino effect. So if you do a good habit at the beginning of the day, like I said, then your day is probably going to end up being more productive. But by doing this, by being unproductive, by indulging, you're naturally just going to keep falling into the cycle and keep falling into the trap of being unproductive. And yeah, I felt high urges because of this. And if someone like you, let's say, had felt these urges, you probably would have relapsed. Probably would have. No, you definitely would have. So that's the problem, and I only realized this now. I took all the action at the same time, and now that I'm kind of changing my lifestyle, I'm starting to realize what actually had the impact and what didn't have an impact. And quitting social media did. When I quit social media, I started to make progress, and that was in all areas. That wasn't just in my overcoming of masturbation. It was also in business. It was also in relationships. It was in meaning as well. I found a meaning in my life, a real meaning, and that you have to be in your own head for that to happen. I find that people can't live in their own head. They have to live with their headphones on. By all means, let's say you're in the gym. By all means, listen to the music, because I think there are some forms of indulgence, let's say, that is productive and that will result in progression. I have done the gym without music, I've gone on runs without music, I've done training without music, and sometimes it's been good, sometimes it's been bad. Just how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling really unmotivated and I need something to get me going, then the music will get me going. It's like you put on your headphones and now you're in the zone, you're ready to do the gym. But before that, you weren't. But sometimes you're the opposite way around. You put in the music, you're already very motivated, and you put in the music and it's demotivating you. So just throw that shit out. But that's the only time you actually need dopamine. You don't need television. You more than likely don't need YouTube. That was my biggest vice for a while. Content on YouTube. I already quit TikTok. I think I deleted my TikTok account because the last time I relapsed, I was so pissed off that I relapsed because I kept re-downloading TikTok, which we'll get into that point later. But I ended up actually deleting my account. I still have most of my other social media accounts, but I don't use the social media, so don't need them. But the point is that if you just quit them, if you just don't indulge, you don't have them, then you're not gonna, then you're gonna make progression. So there's no reason for you to be using social media unless it's for business. That's why I ended up scrolling on social media. I got Twitter back. Twitter, the only social media, except YouTube, obviously, that I have, and that's for business. But I use that for other purposes other than business. But it makes life harder when you're a consumer. I found that when I live as a consumer, my life is, really into the consumer. I can't watch a movie and then, go to work. Some people can, by all means. But I find that when I indulge, I continue to indulge. And I continue to indulge. And it takes a long time, therefore, to actually get back into my state. So I find that the more disciplined, the more hardworking I am, the easier it is. So it makes life harder to be a consumer because people want you to buy, people want you to consume content, food, all the bad stuff. Well, food is obviously good, but there's a lot of junk food as well that is heavily advertised. You can't give in to that because that's what people want. That's what all the big organizations want you to do. They want you to be a consumer, and it's really hard to not be a consumer if you already are a consumer. So if you just completely take yourself out of it, life becomes easy. But when you're still consuming content and bad things, your life is harder. Everything, every step is, dragging through the mud. You're dragging your legs through the mud, trying to get the next step, trying to force the next step. Whereas when you're not consuming, it's easy. You can make your steps. You can wear a pair of boots and you can step through the mud. Or, for example, swimming upstream. You're swimming against the current if you're a consumer, but whereas if you're not a consumer, you're going with the current. You're able to just do what you need to do without any problems. And that's because you keep switching, your brain keeps switching to task to task to task. I see it. Andrew Huberman said that when you're switching tasks, this messes up your brain. It gives you a bit of mental fog that kind of limits you from your next task. Even today, I kept hopping tasks, and it took the presence to think, what the hell am I doing? Just do one task. And then I did the one task, and I was able to do the next one and the next one, rather than switching between each task, filling up, okay, I want to do this, and I'll come back to that, I'll do this. No, just do that task. Don't scroll. Don't watch content. Finish that, and then if you want to watch content, then whatever, I don't care. But you get the point. Do that stuff first. Go each step at a time. My biggest problem was, and you're going to probably find this, was I was addicted to one app in particular, or one social media site. And I wasn't really addicted, it was just because I was making excuses for it. And the app I wouldn't delete was Snapchat, and probably, I couldn't even say it's the worst one, they're all equally as bad. But I wouldn't delete Snapchat because I believed, oh, maybe someone will message me, maybe someone needs me, maybe I'm needed, maybe someone wants to hang out. And I found out that no one really does. No one really needs you. If they want to hang out, they'll tell me. That's how it's always been. So why would, sometimes people message me, oh, do you want to go out? Oh, I need you. Oh, hey, baby. But, realistically, in the state I was in, was I pulling any girls? No. Was anyone hanging out with me? Yes, but probably not at that point. So, and they have my number, and they can physically come and see me if they want to meet up. So, why do I need Snapchat? And that took ages for me to figure out. Ages of excuses. I kept not buying. Well, actually, yeah, I did keep buying app blockers, trying to block the app. But then I would be able to find a way around it and then unblock it so I could still use the app and relapse because my urges would get high. Just delete the fucking app. When it's not there, you're not going to be able to do it. Hamza said years ago, keep all the games on your desktop so you can see it. Keep all your apps on your phone so you can see it and you can resist. You can't resist. Your urges, your emotional state, the urges you get from that are too high to resist. Okay, you can resist for a while, but you can't resist forever. That's why now, when I get a sexual urge like I did yesterday, I'm able to resist because it's had time to recover. It's like the gym, a muscle. It's time to recover, and now it can attack again. Because I'm not always... I'm getting a call. Is that recording? Yeah, it is. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, Snapchat. So the app blockers didn't work. There was no point of having them in the first place. It was just because I didn't want to get rid of the app. I was addicted, and it was TikTok and all these other apps as well. But the problem was that I just wouldn't get rid of the app, and once I finally got rid of it, I found I just stopped relapsing. But I still relapsed, but I wasn't relapsing because of that. It was another reason I could tackle. But if you don't actually address the problems, I kept journaling, Snapchat, okay, I'm going to block it, I'm going to go detox for 4 days. Didn't work because I didn't actually get to the root of the problem. What was the problem? Having Snapchat. Okay, Snapchat, gone. And the problem was it wasn't, you'd be thinking, how do you relapse with Snapchat? Are you texting girls? No, I had no bitches back then. Well, I did, but I didn't have hot bitches. I think it was I don't know what they call it. Like where you go to the store, your stories, where you can see all the people's stories, and then you can see other people's stories. We put it on public, and you can scroll and search up. That was what was getting me. I think if you go into my Snapchat account, what I used to do was play around with it. I used to, jack off, and then I'd be really disappointed, and then I'd hide the story. And if you go onto my Snapchat now, there's fucking lists of just birds, mediocre birds, not even like hot birds. Sometimes like just a load of chicks everywhere. Because I'd relapsed so many times. I'd add them to the favorites or whatever. And then I'd jack off, and then I'd hide them, and then it was just a shambles. And there's so many people that still do that. I see like friends Snapchats, and they have loads of girls added on their stories or whatever. Like underneath, it has all their profiles. It's because they're just looking for a wank or trying to just, pedestalize her. But that was actually probably my biggest problem, and I knew that, but I tried to look at it in the short term. Okay, I'll hide her story. Okay, I'll block the app for a day or a week. No, then I found the presence to think, okay, clearly none of the things I'm doing is working. Delete the app, boom, gone. Haven't had it since. I re-downloaded it a few times to fuck around with people because I'm just a prick. But but I don't use it. And you don't realize that you're addicted to these apps. It's unhealthy. It is really unhealthy. I had withdrawal from like TikTok, I think, for a while. I was too used to scrolling. I was like, where's the David Goggins video? I need them. And what I did was to counteract this was because I used to always I had like playlists of hot chicks on my TikTok. I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck it was called. I had a load of chicks anyway. I used to like say, oh, she's hot. Oh yeah, gotta come back to that later. Never, I did, but I also had like motivation, all these dopamine. Like they were all dopamine. All playlists were dopamine. It was hot chicks, motivation, more motivation, and then like inspirational shit. Like I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you, but on the motivation, it was like David Goggins and all them people. And I'd listen to it every day, and it get me out of bed, and it worked for a while. And even now, like if I'm having a shit workout, I can't find any music that's working. That playlist still works. And I'm not saying on TikTok. What I did was, I'd like copy the links. I'd download each audio from the TikTok, all the David Goggins quotes, all these people, all the kind of, to get you going, get you fucking off your ass, that kind of shit. Put in a Spotify playlist, and I used to listen to it on repeat, so I didn't need TikTok, and I didn't have to scroll. Look at this video, and look at the video and see all the edits and all this stuff. No, bang, click on that audio. What's that? Oh, who's gonna lift the boats and the logs? That kind of shit. But it worked. I found the problem. Well, I'm still addicted to TikTok. I want to listen to these inspirational audios. What can I do to shortcut that? Have the audios, but you don't have the actual app. So sometimes I download the app, find the audios, boom, delete, boom, gone. I found solutions. They're a bit of a compromise, yeah. They're not a complete solution, but it worked, and I'm at the position I'm at now because of what I did. And my brother, of all people, told me, actually said to me, how did I quit Snapchat specifically? He knows I don't have social media. He thinks I'm a boring bastard, and in a weird way, he's kind of right. But I kind of listened to him. He was like, well, I wouldn't be able to live with it. I wouldn't be able to live without it. And that got me thinking, wow, people really are, you forget, once you're past the addiction, you forget how addicted people were to it. So if you're addicted to social media, once you quit for a long time, you realize, wow, people are down bad. But my brother, especially because he had social media for such a long time. I only had it for a few years before I quit. He had it pretty much his whole life, even though he's older than me, but still. And he's a smart guy, but he's still got his vices. People are addicted to these. You're addicted. People don't realize that. And it is easy if you try to quit. People think, oh, it's so hard to quit social media. It's fucking easy. Delete it and then find something to do with your time. It takes a while to find out what to do with your time, but once you find out what to do, it's easy. I have investing, business, fitness, journaling, meditation, different forms of journaling. Chicks, I can message a chick and go out with her, or go out and meet a chick. Can record a video, can go cuddle my dog. There's fucking loads of things you can do. It's just because you're so addicted that you can't comprehend doing something else. So just do it. Stop waiting around for what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Stop trying to find a replacement. Find the replacement in the moment. Because consuming will be the hardest challenge that you have to overcome. Once you overcome consuming, then it's easy. And a book I would recommend is Deep Work by Cal Newport. I had to look for it there. I have it right behind me. Actually, you might be able to see it at the far left there. Deep Work by Cal Newport. It's a very good book. It talks about deep work, talks about distractions, all that stuff. I'd give it a read if you're addicted. But what you will come across is that you will end up getting these social medias back at some point. I have gotten every single one of them back at some point, and you probably will get them back the next day, the week after, the month later, a year later, whatever. What you have to do from then and there is just delete it. Find the presence to say, okay, what am I doing? Delete it. There you go. Now you will have people say, oh, why are you not? Oh, why do you never respond? Oh, why do you not have Snapchat? Oh, I can never get hold of you. Oh, you're not going to get any chicks because you don't have Snapchat or Instagram. Now Instagram, fair enough, but Snapchat, you can get any girl, you can get any bird's number. She's into you, she's going to give you her number. It's not like, oh, I need to be very available. No, she'll give you her number. There you go. You don't need Snapchat. There's no reason to have Snapchat. It's just for horny little kids and influencers. But I did get all these social medias back, and I did start scrolling again, and I had to kind of reiterate to myself, okay, I can't keep doing this. I gotta stop. But the thing is, you're always going to be a consumer. So you have to find the if you don't change anything now or soon, you will always be a consumer. But people think, oh, okay, yeah, I'll quit soon. They never do. Don't rot away. So many people I see rot away because they're still a consumer. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm stopping soon. Oh, yeah. They never do. So just take action. And you'll be surprised how easy it can be. And also, being a consumer on NoFap is the most self-destructive thing you can do, because they both counteract each other. NoFap, you're trying not to fap, control your lust, all this. Social media is entertainment, but also heavily driven by the sexual marketplace, heavily driven by models and all this stuff. Go on TikTok and there's a good chance you're going to find some girl shaking her arse or doing this little dance. I don't know, I don't care, but that's what they do. Instagram, same thing, models everywhere, girls everywhere. Reels are a thing now, a lot of girls on there. There's Reddit, pretty bad, wouldn't get that. All social media has women on there, and you're going to come across them if you have them. So because your willpower is not very strong, the likelihood is you're going to relapse. So by not having social media, it just makes everything 10 times easier. By having it, it's counterproductive. It's it's like eating food when you're thirsty. Why the fuck would you eat food? It's like, no, you're thirsty. Have some water or something hydrating. I don't know. But don't have food, because it's probably going to make you more thirsty. It's common sense. But anyway, if you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and comment down below any suggestions that you may have, and have a good day.